Is it creepy or is it cool? Everyone's talking about a new messaging app from Google called Allo, and it's not something you put on your skin after a sunburn. It is a very smart, to the point of being a little weird, messaging app that actually guesses and knows what's going on in your conversations, but also butts in with suggestions. Henry has been doing a hands-on with this and wants to give you his first impressions. Why don't we start with smart replies, and what is it?
So when my colleague messaged me in Allo a photo of his French bulldog, Google Allo suggested 3 possible options on how I could respond. One of them thought Marie was a Boston Terrier, which is not correct, but the fact that it identified it as a dog alone feels like Allo gets some points for that. And the fact that it's only on the first day that it has that feature of being able to identify parts of a photo. Sunset earlier, it identifies it as sunrise. And it also can identify voice and text. So smart replies are these little bubbles that you tap, and it sends them immediately.
So is it weird when you see these things like above or below your photos, and is it making us a little bit lazy when it comes to messaging?
It only feels weird when in use when everybody's using them over and over again, and it feels like your chat is pre-scripted out of a little database or a guide to how humans interact.
Right. Well, I guess you still have a choice not to use it. So the other thing that I'm more excited about is Google Assistant and the fact that it can insert itself into your conversation only when you want to by tapping or typing at Google. So for example, if I want to see like what's for lunch and I want to send that to you, I can just send this over here. And beer's not for lunch. That would be nice, but we'll see. And you can see that Google, what is Google saying?
Google says, let's find you something to eat. By the way, what kind of foods do you like? I'll remember and give you better options.
So at this point, I don't know if we both have an option, but let's say I want to say burgers and just see what's around here and keep that going.
Make sure you hit @Google in there, because if you don't hit @Google every time, it'll slide into the background.
So I said burgers here, noted it anything else, and I said, no, find me a restaurant, please, because I'm hungry.
Yeah,
we're going to start this going. So then you see the cards start to show up. And that's what's kind of neat about this app, is that you don't have to go somewhere else in order to get recommendations. So what else can this assistant do?
It can play games. There's this emoji movie trivia thing where it shows you 2 or 4 emoji, and it says, figure out what movie this is the title of. One of mine I saw was the giant X emoji, and I wanted 2 guys. I was staring at it for about 5 minutes. I realized X-Men, some nerd I am. But it's a really interesting, fun little time waster that was a really fun way to play with Google Assistant. And the other, and it feels creepy at times, and it brought up a lot of privacy concerns. People at Google I/O, and it was announced, they were told that this would never store your messages permanently. But now that it's released, it turns out that's the opposite.
So, but why did they make this change, and should people be worried?
If you're already using Google and you're already piped into Gmail and all your Google services, you've already sort of given up on your privacy in a way. But if you turn on incognito chats by starting a new chat and selecting Start Incognito, the problem is smart replies, Google Assistant, and other little neat smart tricks won't really work.
Right.
So if you want the power of Google really behind you and Google Assistant, you're going to have to give up a little bit in exchange of your privacy in exchange for it.
Yeah, the other thing that I like is that, in a way, it's a way of getting like Google's Assistant on your phone. It's almost like a Trojan horse for getting rid of Siri.
Onto iOS, yeah.
Because you can ask it all sorts of questions, like what's in the news today, and there's a bunch of headlines that come up. So I'm sure that over time, there's going to be a lot more capabilities that are added. At the same time, there's a ton of messaging apps out there. There's Snapchat and WhatsApp. So where does Allo fit in the mix, and do you think it has a future?
For some people who want to have an autopilot or somebody to take the wheel when they're sort of busy out there having a conversation, but they're also trying to maybe juggle a few coffees in their hand while they walk, Allo is going to be a great fit. But for me and a few other people who juggle iMessage, Facebook message, Twitter DMs, Snapchat, everything else, it might not be able to firmly root its grips into your life.
Okay, well, check out the full hands-on at Tom's Guide. This is Mark Spoonhour.
Henry T. Casey.
Thanks, guys.